My name's Jodie Sizer. I'm a Gunditj Mara Djapurrung woman, and I'm one of the co-owners and principals of PIC, which is PwC Indigenous Consulting. PIC is unique in not only how it was formed and what it's about, but it is majority owned and led Aboriginal business. We're an Aboriginal-owned business, but we also take very seriously the principle of self-determination, because we know that's what leads to success in designing solutions for Aboriginal communities. So if we want to be the leaders of that success, we have to demonstrate what we know works. So what that means for PIC is that we have 70% of our workforce are Indigenous people themselves. We're really, really placed that we have exceptional talent and expertise from across the country that is very well placed to inform the issues, having experience directly with working with Indigenous communities. We've also got some great expertise that we've been able to access from within PwC. Within the government space, it was new for them to look at engaging some of the larger professional services firms to tackle some of the complex problems in our communities. And we hear a lot of airtime about whether it's family violence or alcohol and drug problems or youth suicide, all very serious and important issues. And often we don't get enough airtime about what are the underlying issues. Employment and education and appropriate housing and ways in which we approach our business, and how do we work with the specific populations, in our case within Aboriginal communities, what's different about working with Aboriginal people as opposed to the broader population and getting better outcomes. So it is in part understanding the difference between what are the underlying issues as opposed to addressing the symptoms. Our structure, our composition is one thing, but it's also about how we go about doing our business. So our methodologies are based, again, on that principle of self-determination, and it's really bringing together a human-centred design approach. Our work in recent time has really focused on the principle of co-design, and what that acknowledges is there's a lot of value in working together. So we come to the room not necessarily as experts in family violence and what are the answers to solving family violence issues, but strong methodologies that can facilitate conversations and together bring out the solutions. We're just providing voice to the solutions that are provided by the Aboriginal people and the leadership that's already there. But if we can bring together the right people at the right time, ask the right questions, and that's where the magic happens. A good 10 years plus ago, Victoria created a task force that combined Aboriginal leadership and agency expertise to develop a 10-year plan to address family violence issues in the community. So the Department of Premier and Cabinet in Victoria was one of our first clients, and they came to us because some of our team, including myself, had previous relationship from previous roles with the department, so they knew what our heart's passion was. And I guess they could see the value in bringing the technical expertise from the professional services space. So this opportunity was to come in. The plan is now halfway through its implementation, 5 years in of the 10-year plan, to evaluate and say, where have we got to? How are we tracking? What do we need to do differently to impact change for the further remainder of the time on the plan? In this particular project, it was one of PIC's very first projects, and we were very excited, and then all of a sudden there's change of government and we had a Royal Commission into family violence. What a Royal Commission means is that the government is behind creating solutions and looking at and understanding the complexities of these issues. So by the Victorian Government committing to a Royal Commission, it wasn't just for the sake of doing a process, it's to the intention to inform a better outcome. So I guess the Royal Commission brought a greater commitment to ensuring the robustness of the evidence was very sound, which is of course what we would always commit to, but I think that everyone collectively, the swell of pressure, people are like, yes, do whatever it takes, we've got to make sure we get this right. So people were very open to engaging with PIC methodologies in understanding how do we ensure that we touch off on every point of consideration to say, have we turned every corner and looked under every stone to ensure that we have got all the evidence we can both quantitative and qualitative. Once the Royal Commission released its findings earlier this year, there's already now groups coming together to say, how do we implement these recommendations? It is really very validating to submit something to a higher power of a Royal Commission, where there is going to be that level of scrutiny and an independent series of experts who have looked across the whole sector and can acknowledge that, yes, there is work to be done here, and in fact everything that you've said and everything that's been outlined in this report is valid, and we commit to taking that forward. They acknowledge the unique approach that has been undertaken in the Indigenous family violence space. The 10-year plan was informed by strong Aboriginal leadership, really grounded in some solid principles about how to address this space, and that's showing success. So improving the quality of the services that are available, increasing the breadth of services that are available so people can get timely access to services that respond to their needs, but also acknowledging Aboriginal ways of doing business. And it's no secret that family violence is an issue in which the Indigenous community are taking a lead on, because it is something that's the stats are showing occurs at rates higher than it does in the broader community. So understanding why is that and what can we do about that. So the recommendations provide a commitment to working with the community to better tackle those issues. So for us, it feels like a long journey in employing our work and refining our work. And now at this point in time, government is really agreeable and understanding and advocating for the principles in which we employ. So I think understanding and navigating the sector in which the service delivery takes place, understanding the complexities across the many elements of some sectors. We're doing work in the child protection space, and there's so many players in that sector. Understanding and unpacking how each play a role and trying to connect together to have whole of system reform. I believe that without a doubt it's absolutely making a difference.